the more recent texts are as you go up the page, right?
Correct.
So in the bottom text, you're telling Mr. Depp that some people are at his house visiting, and you say they'll be at the pool in 10,
Objection, Your
right?
Honor. Hearsay. Also relevance. This is 2019.
What's the relevance?
He just testified that he hadn't helped facilitate Mr. Depp's drug use, so this is for impeachment, and this is, you got to read the text in context to see how it impeaches him.
All right, we could come.
Sure.
We could approach, please.
Judge Penny, alright, this is the hard copy. So you're saying this impeaches him for facilitating drug use? J.B. Rottenborn, yes, Your Honour. Judge Penny, I haven't read it yet, so I'm not sure. Where in there do you say that happens? J.B. Rottenborn, so there's some visitors to the house. If you start at the bottom and read up, and Mr. Depp makes it clear he doesn't want them to go down and see them, and he says the not drugs are down there on, I think it's entry 73, and then right above that he says, so the visitors are coming. He says on 74, he says something about can't go downstairs until they split, and then he says the not drugs is down there, what's a boy to do? And he says trying to help Daddy. Judge Penny, I'm sorry, what is the impeachment of that? J.B. Rottenborn, the impeachment is he says he hasn't helped facilitate Mr. Depp's drug use. Mr. Depp is saying the not drugs. He doesn't want to go downstairs because the not drugs is down there, meaning, Judge Penny, I don't know what that means. Camille, yeah, I don't either. That's not impeachment. That's not proper impeachment. J.B. Rottenborn, I don't know what it means either, but it's... Judge Penny, then how can you say it's impeachment if you don't know what it means? J.B. Rottenborn, well, I'm going to ask him. Well, he says he doesn't want to go downstairs because they're not drugs, meaning like the drugs are upstairs. I don't want to go downstairs. Judge Penny, I understand that. J.B. Rottenborn, do you know what I'm saying? Judge Penny, I'm going to sustain the objection. I just don't see that as impeachment. J.B. Rottenborn, okay, all right. Camille, thank you very much, Your Honour. Judge Penny, okay.
Mr. Bett, you communicate with Mr. Depp through texts, correct?
I do.
That's your primary way of communicating with him?
Well, not primary. I mean, if I happen to be in his presence.
Actions did you observe between Mr. Depp and Mr. Daly?
Sean had come to set one day and sat and talked with Johnny for a while, and they talked about collaborating and doing some stuff in the future.
Was it a friendly conversation?
Absolutely, yes.
Has Mr. Depp ever worn an earpiece in any of the many movies in which you've worked with him?
Yes.
For what purpose are earpieces generally used by actors on sets?
Well, I've worked
Objection,
with...
Your Honor. First of all, relevance, foundation,
What's the relevance?
hearsay.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Okay, sure.
Ben Chu, Your Honour, this is very few questions about this. Part of their case is that Johnny is an alcoholic and a drug addict, and he can't remember his lines, and I need to establish that he uses earpieces for a very different reason. Judge Penny, well, I think if you want to direct it towards him, but the last question you said was, why do people generally use earpieces in the film? Ben Chu, I was just trying to ask that one question, just to establish what. Judge Penny, that's alright. If you want to just direct it to Johnny Depp, that's fine. Ben Chu, okay, thank you, Your Honour. Judge Penny, uh-huh.
Mr. Wyatt, has Mr. Depp ever worn an earpiece in any of the movies in which you've worked with him?
Objection leading.
I'll allow it.
And he already answered it anyway, but
That's okay, I'll allow it.
Yes, he has. I've never seen Johnny be violent towards anybody.
To what extent, if any, did you observe Mr. Depp or Ms. Heard hit, kick, or throw anything at each other on the plane?
No, I don't recall that at all.
Mr. Wyatt, was Mr. Depp consuming any alcohol on that flight?
Sure, yes.
Did he seem intoxicated?
Seem intoxicated? No, he seemed like Johnny. No, he seemed normal.
Did there come a time, Mr. Wyatt, when you learned that Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard were getting married to each other.
Yes.
How did you find out about that there would be a wedding?
I was at the Infinitum office, and Christy came to me and said, hey,
I'm just asking, it's not for the proof, I'm just asking him how he found out about the wedding.
All right, what's the relevance of how?
May we approach, Your Honor?
Okay.
Benchu, I'm just getting to the rushed nature of the wedding and how they all found out about it at the last minute. I mean, I think it's relevant because he saw them interact, so I'm asking him how they interacted. Judge Penny, okay, you can get to the wedding. I'm not sure it's relevant how he found out about it. Benchu, understood. Judge Penny, okay, Elaine, and that's fine. Benchu, thank you.
During the decades that you have known Mr. Depp, to what extent, if any, are you aware of any woman other than Ms. Heard accusing him of abuse?
I'll allow it.
I've never seen Johnny abuse anybody, ever.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wyatt. That's all I have right now.
Well, we go ahead and take our break. All right, let's go ahead and take our morning break for 15 minutes. Do not say anything, do not talk to me about the case, and don't look up anything. If a juror needs to address something to me, please write it down and give it to the deputy, okay? All right, thank you. You're excused. 15 minutes. And Mr. Wyatt, since you're still in the middle of your testimony, you can't discuss the case or your testimony with the attorneys or with Mr. Depp at this time, okay? All right, thank you. Let's just come back, and let's make it 11:20, okay? We'll come back 11:20? All right, thank you.
All right.
Judge Penny, if I could have you approach the bench for just a moment. Okay, so juror, we'll find the juror. The young man in the back. Elaine, number 4. Judge Penny, number 4. He's feeling very anxious. He seems to be having some sort of mental health issue, but he says he's okay right now. He thinks at lunchtime he might be able to get some medicine and be okay. I might keep my eye on him. I'm a little concerned because I guess Judy said when she saw him on the elevator too, and he was talking to himself, acting a little off. So I'm not sure exactly, but I'll keep an eye on him. He said he's okay until lunch. I didn't talk to him, that's through a deputy who says he's okay through lunch. But we'll keep an eye on him and see exactly what's going on with him. And at lunchtime, we'll have a better... I was going to, after this witness, go ahead and take an early lunch. Benchu, I think that makes sense, Your Honour, because we have some issues. We have almost 100% agreement on the recordings, but I think we could use the time to kind of finish that up. Judge Penny, okay, sure. So we'll send them to lunch after this witness, and we'll continue for a little while, so we can take care of some things, okay? Is that good? Benchu, yeah, thank you, Your Honour. Judge Penny, okay? Elaine, thank you, Your Honour.
All right, we're ready for the jury? Okay. Okay, yes.
Fact, wasn't Mr. Depp saying pretty horrible things to Ms. Heard?
I don't recall that.
Like, get fucked on set, get fucked with fucking James fucking Franco? Did you hear that?
I don't recall.
Did you hear him say, at least you fucking liked it?
No.
Did you hear him say, I bet you slipped a tongue in there and you liked it?
No.
Did you hear him say, make references to Amber's pussy and asking her if her pussy was wet?
Your Honor, lack of foundation,
No.
harassment.
Did you hear any of that?
No, not that I recall.
Okay.
I'll overrule the objection. It's fine.
Thank
Next
you.
question.
Now, you shared an oxygen tank with Mr. Depp on that Boston plane, didn't you?
No.
You don't recall Mr. Depp insisting that the flight attendant give him an oxygen tank and the two of you used it?
No.
Okay. Do you recall Mr. Depp drinking champagne on the plane?
I don't know what he was drinking. I'm sure I was having wine. He could have been having champagne.
Do you remember him drinking a couple bottles of champagne?
I don't know how much.
Okay. And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp didn't kick Amber?
I didn't see anything like that.
Okay. Did you see Mr. Depp go to the back of the plane and pass out and moan loudly?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that either?
No.
Okay. Can we pull up Defendant's Exhibit 245, please? And, Your Honor, I show no objection to it in the filings. So I'm going to move the admission of it, and I'm going to ask it to be published.
No. Any objection to 245?
Yes, Your Honor, it's improper impeachment. It's not to him.
All right, if you want to approach, we'll see what your objections. Do you have your list of objections from your exhibits?
Elaine, this is, I know I needed my glasses for this. 245 has no objection. Judge Penny, 245. Ben Chew, it's improper impeachment. It's not to Mr. Wyatt. Elaine, first of all, it's admitted, so it can be published. But this is Mr. Depp talking about what he drank and what he took in drugs. Ben Chew, Your Honour, it's hearsay. Elaine, before and at the time. Ben Chew, Your Honour, it's hearsay and it's prejudicial. Elaine, we're admitting it here. Judge Penny, who's it from though? Elaine, it's from Depp to Paul Bettany. Judge Penny, to who? Elaine, to Paul Bettany. Ben Chew, no, it's not to him. Judge Penny, no, then it can't come in. Just because they didn't object to it doesn't mean it automatically comes in at trial. You're trying to use it for impeachment. Obviously they can't. They don't know that's what you're trying to use it for at the time. So there are still hearsay objections and impeachment objections that come up during trial. And right now, he's not even party to this conversation, so I'm not going to allow it, okay? Elaine, okay, thank you, Your Honour. Ben Chew, I think she should be instructed to move on. Judge Penny, excuse me? Ben Chew, she should be instructed to move on to another. Elaine, no, I'm going to ask questions. I just can't use the document. Judge Penny, well, you're not going to use it. You're not going to ask questions about this text, though. Elaine, I can't make reference to the text. Ben Chew, no. Elaine, because of Your Honour's ruling. But I'm going to ask him additional questions, but I'm not going to put it in the text. Judge Penny, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, not involving the words on this text. Correct? Elaine, correct. Ben Chew, that's what I wanted to make sure. Judge Penny, okay.
Mr. Wyatt, are you aware that Mr. Deuters apologized to Amber for Mr. Depp's conduct afterwards?
Lack of
After the
foundation,
Boston Pet
hearsay,
Plan.
Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay. Where did you recall, as you're sitting here today under oath, you honestly can't remember if Mr. Depp was passed out when you left the plane?
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
All right. I'll allow it this one time. Go ahead. You can answer, sir.
There was lots of plane flights. I mean, the only reason I remember this one was because Amber yelled at me on that flight.
Do you remember my question?
I don't recall.
All right.
I mean,
so-
I could have gotten off the plane and just left. I don't know.
And Mr. Depp could have kicked Amber on that plane, right?
Your Honor, asked and answered.
Not that I saw.
Okay. And he could have passed out.
Not that I recall.
Okay. How many times were you with Amber and Mr. Depp together?
Oh, I have no idea. No idea.
Well, what would the circumstances have been?
Invited over for something or other, or, Johnny and I may have been recording some music or something, and she was there. I don't know, at work. I don't.
Now, you had a very close personal relationship with Christy Dombrowski, didn't you?
We're friends, yes.
Yes, and you were more than friends for quite a few years. were you
Your
not?
Honor, relevance, may we approach?
It's impeachment.
All right,
It's bias. It's bias.
Approach, please.
Judge Penny, alright, what's the problem? Ben Chew, She's just wanting to go into the gutter again and try to intimate. Judge Penny, I'm not sure. Elaine, he's biased. He had an affair with her for years. Benchu, he didn't. That's a lie, number one. Judge Penny, I'm not going there. I'm not. I'm going to sustain that objection. That's more of a sideshow than we're going to. She's not on trial here, okay? Elaine, correct. Judge Penny, all right.
Now, you testified that the wedding that you went to, the one in Los Angeles, seemed to be a little rushed.
Yes.
How long were
Wait
you
for that.
So your order gets an extended lunch.
So I get an extended lunch. Okay, well, what I'm going to do, just to let you know, actually, if you approach the bench.
Judge Penny, with Juror 4, we have CSB in the building, for mental health services. So I'm going to have one of them come up and just not release him for lunch yet and talk with him and see exactly if he's having a mental health issue. Elaine, I think that's a good idea. Benchu, thank you, Your Honour. Judge Penny, okay, and so we're going to see where we are and we can go from there. I'm sorry about the extended lunch. I thought we had other things to do, but if that works out, Camille, well, we'd appreciate it, Your Honour, because we've met and conferred and started to on the recordings. Judge Penny, okay, good. Camille, we have an agreement that both sides can use the other's voices. Judge Penny, during Mr. Depp's. Camille, yeah, Judge Penny, I gotcha. Camille, the only thing, we're still ironing out whether we believe Mr. Depp believes that only portions of... We have transcriptions of the recordings. Judge Penny, okay. Camille, both sides do, but we believe, similar to the way Your Honour has been ruling on the text message, only the portions of the transcripts that are displayed, Judge Penny, right, Camille, should be submitted to the jury as either an aid, if Your Honour would prefer, or admitted into evidence. Judge Penny, okay. Camille, Miss Heard's counsel is insisting that the entire transcript should be provided to the jury, and we disagree with that. Judge Penny, as far as when it comes to video coverage and transcripts, they can have the transcripts as aid. They're not evidence. Camille, right. Judge Penny, okay, so they can have them as an aid as you're watching the video. Elaine, audio, and we're mostly talking about audio here. Audio recordings. Judge Penny, audio. It can be an assistance when they hear the audio, but the transcripts themselves don't come into evidence. The evidence is the audio recording. Elaine, I think the reason that we've got the transcripts, Your Honour, there is one audio recording that's over 5 hours and it's... Judge Penny, it doesn't come into evidence unless the audio comes into evidence. I usually don't let transcripts into the jury, but I'll let them. Elaine, we just wanted to do that, so... That... Judge Penny, okay, that's fine, but if you think it'll help them because maybe there's hard to hear parts of the audio, I'll allow them to. You can pass it to them while they're listening to the audio, and then once it's done, collect them back up. Elaine, okay. Camille, and there's going to be 2 versions, Your Honour, because we've done transcriptions, and they've done transcriptions. Judge Penny, of course there is. Benchu, very unreasonable. Judge Penny, so do you want me to come back a little early so I can decide which one, or are you guys going to figure that out on your own? I'm not going to give the jurors 2 transcriptions. Camille, you're not going to give them 2? Judge Penny, no. The whole point is to help them. Camille, would it be? Judge Penny, if you can't agree, then I'm not going to give it to them, and it's just going to be on their hearing of it. Camille, okay, or would you be amenable if we play a portion of the transcript that we provide our transcription and then... Judge Penny, no, we're not going to do that. Camille Vasquez, no? Okay. Judge Penny, no. Camille Vasquez, okay. Judge Penny, okay. So it's either one transcription or none. Camille Vasquez, or none. Judge Penny, and it doesn't go to the jury, okay? We'll see you at 2. Benchu, thank you. Camille, thank you very much, Your Honour.
All right.
I thought that was a very... In my head at the time, I thought that that was a cowardly way for my father to have left. And I was deeply upset by that. until my father and I had a conversation years later where I asked him what really happened, how did it happen when I was older, and he told me the story.
Your Honor, may we approach? Sure.
Miss Myers, Your Honour, this has been offered for his state of mind and understanding of his relationship, the foundation upon which the relationship that he was in with Miss Heard is. J.B. Rottenborn, still, that's just... I have had a lot of restraint so far. He's getting into what his dad told him about why he left. So hearsay. Judge Penny, what? J.B. Rottenborn, if it's offered for the truth, it's clear that they are trying to draw a parallel, make it Amber's family here and Johnny's. Judge Penny, I don't know. What is the answer? So I can just... Miss Myers, his understanding is that his mother had attempted, held a gun to his father, and then to her own head, and that's what his father told him. Now, whether that's true or not, that's what Mr. Depp understood the situation was, and why his father left. Judge Penny, so why is it relevant? Ms. Myers, it's relevant to understanding why Mr. Depp would stay in this relationship with Miss Heard, and why she would ultimately leave. Judge Penny, I'll sustain the objection, move on. Ms. Myers, thank you.
Mr. Depp, how did you feel about your father when he left?
I was very disappointed in him because
How long did Miss Pennington end up staying in the penthouses?
longer than I did.
And how much rent did you charge to Miss Pennington?
Nothing.
Did anyone live with Miss Pennington in the penthouses?
Yes, her fiance or boyfriend and fiance Josh Drew. And then at a certain point, I learned that there was another female living there who I wasn't sure who that was. I didn't know who that was. It was because there were 2 bedrooms, and so she had invited a friend to move in. But I met that person very briefly a while after they'd already been living there.
Are we at a good breaking point?
I think
just
this
wanna
is a
make sure.
good stopping point.
That's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and break for the evening. Again, do not discuss the case with anybody and don't do any outside research, okay? And we'll see you in the morning at 10 a.m. All right? Thank you. You're excused for the day. Thank you. All right. And again, sir, since you're in the middle of your testimony, do not discuss your testimony with anybody to include your attorneys this evening, okay? All right, you can stand down if you'd like. Okay, thank you. All right, is there any other matters for this evening? Sure.
Elaine, we'd never discussed the second alternate. Judge Penny, 15 is what I have. The next time we came together, I was going to say that. 15. Elaine, there's one other minor issue. I don't know with respect to keeping track of respective times. Judge Penny, right? Elaine, counsel for Depp has sent an email to Sammy with an itemisation. We had asked, Your Honour may recall, 2 Fridays ago, asked them to give me their worksheets with their calculations and everything, so I could double check it, so we could agree on it. They're now refusing to give those to me, so I can't verify any of those and go back and check them. Judge Penny, well, I think... Elaine, so I need those. Judge Penny, are they way off? Elaine, I'd have to have done the calculations too. Judge Penny, right. Elaine, but they have said they were going to do it. Judge Penny, right. Elaine, the calculations. Camille, Miss Brederhoff, I'm here, and I'm happy to provide all we did, Your Honour. Judge Penny, It would be too difficult to do that. I assume you would do yours, and then when your case comes around, you do yours. Camille, actually we have Planet Depots doing it now, but they couldn't go backwards. Judge Penny, okay. Elaine, that's why they said they were doing those. Judge Penny, I guess what she's saying is there are no worksheets? Camille, there are no worksheets per se, Miss Bredhoff, just... Elaine, there had to be something that had the time. Camille, yeah, it's called a transcript. What we did is anything that was designated was in our colours or your colours. Elaine, but you put times on them, right? Camille, no, we added it and subtracted it. Elaine, that's what I'm missing, the underlying numbers, to add them up. Camille, all we did is call... Judge Penny, hold on. Elaine, the transcript here, one of them is right there. Judge Penny, but do you have calculations of some sort? Camille, no, Your Honour. What we did is take the total amount of the transcript and then just subtracted our designations. Judge Penny, okay. Camille, we then took a look at their designations. Anything that we both co-designated, we split in half. Judge Penny, okay. Camille, so it's a calculation that anyone with a transcript can do. Judge Penny, okay, I don't think they have any underlying work product. Camille, we don't have anything per se. Elaine, so when you subtracted, how did you know what to subtract? Camille, we subtracted the designation. Elaine, do you have a number? Judge Penny, I'm not going to ask them to provide anything other than they have. If you want to go back, you have the transcript also. If you want to go back up. Elaine, apparently we're going to have to do that. That takes time, but I haven't agreed to what they sent in. Camille, by the way, we're 1 minute apart. Judge Penny, you're kidding. Camille, no, we're 1 minute apart. Elaine, I haven't done any calculations. Judge Penny, well, I don't know. Camille, I was relying on them telling me. Judge Penny, I'm done with this conversation. Right now, that's what I have. If you find something different, you can let Sammy know. But that's what's going in the book right now. Elaine, but I don't agree. Judge Penny, I understand. That's why you're going to have to do it yourself. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.